Okay, we are live. Awesome, awesome. Hi, geniuses. Can you see me? We live together. Yeah, I can see I see me. Eyes from me. All eyes from me. Awesome, awesome. So, are you excited to be here? Here with me? Okay, yeah. So, welcome to this amazing session today again. It's Genius Timeout with Money. And today we'll be having a very, very amazing guest join us, and we'll be looking at how to build memorable brands as a digital marketer. So, first and foremost, I would just like you to give yourself a round of applause for making it here. Today is another amazing day, and I'm very, very excited to have you here. Hi, Madam Lola. Hi. Hi. So first off, tell me where you are joining us from. Tell me your name and where you are joining us from. Tell me your name and where you are joining us from. Yeah, yeah, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. Tell me your name. Tell me where you are joining us from. Tell me your name. I, Joseph. I, Absa. I, Precious. Okay. Yeah, we have Absa joining us from Nasarawa. We have Monga joining us from Nasarawa too. Okay, it's myself and Emmanuel here. Um, we have Monga joining us from Nasarawa. We have Absa joining us from Lagos. Okay, we have Absa joining us from Lagos. And we have Precious from Abia State, which is very, very fun. We have Oluwadamilola joining us from Ibadan. That's from that um, in the spirit. I'm joining from Ibadan. We have Kizito joining us from Kogi. We have Joseph from Enugu, Praise from Lagos, and Makonjola from Kwara. I love that name, Makonjola. We have Ayuba from Abuja, and we have so many other amazing personalities here. We have Emmanuel, Genius Emmanuel. Our identity here is an identity of geniuses. So I really love that. I really love the identification as a genius. From Emmanuel, awesome, awesome, awesome. We have amazing people joining us from wherever you are joining us from. You are joining us, just let us know in the comments your name and where you are joining us from. Welcome once again to RUMONEY Genius Timeout. On this session, we bring top voices, we bring digital marketing experts to share with us their experience, their insight, and basically expose us to how we can grow as digital marketers. Today, we are going to be having an amazing session with a very special person, a genius, the same way we are geniuses. Doing what as we are engineers. So we are RUMONEY. We organizing this event at RUMONEY. We are an organization dedicated to transforming Africa through digital marketing. So we empower students and youth with resources, we empower them with trainings, and we give them opportunities to get them to through digital marketing. And this time out, this specific event is a place where we bring our students, people who are learning from us, who are in our community and all around, to come and have a very, very transformational experience learning from top experts. Today, we are going to be learning from something amazing. We are going to be talking about branding. So, digital marketing is a very, very important thing, and a very core field in digital marketing is branding. A very core field in digital marketing is branding. And branding has been defined as so many things, so many misconceptions, so many misconceived notions about digital marketing. So today we really want to break that down. We want to break those points up and really come out with what branding really is and how we as digital marketers can go ahead and raise a memory brand. So when we are talking about brand, you can imagine a brand like Apple. Apple. So it's just so wonderful what that brand has done. That due to the power of their brand, their product sales, we have Nike too. And due to the power of their brand, their product sales, we have Coca-Cola. So many amazing brands. So it's now up to us as Africans to meet these standards and build such powerful organizations, so powerful brands here in Africa through branding and marketing. So today we'll be having a very amazing experts join us to share a whole lot of insights. So if I tell you my story with her, it was this certain month when I took a break of social media, and like I was like, I'm going to study, develop myself, become a greater personality. Then I came across this lady. I came across her interviewing journalism. Then when I saw the way she spoke and I saw it all, I ended up on her profile. Then I discovered she was the Einstein. I was so shocked. That was the very first thing. She was the Einstein. Then I now discovered she was a genius. So I'm just so excited. I was so excited to discover that there was a lady in the industry who could do so amazing results and could also have so much identity, so much confidence, and such a very powerful voice. And bringing her to the event, I was so excited when she accepted to join us here. And in some minutes from now, she's going to be joining us and she's going to be taking the stage to share with us memorable seven top secrets for building memorable brands. Then we share with us seven secrets to building memorable brands. So this is so amazing, and I'm so excited having you here. So if you are joining us again, I want the comments where you are joining us from, your name. We have people from all over Nigeria. We have Aduke from Lagos, Ebenezer from Kwara, Sophia from Kwara too. Wow. Yeah, and that's just so amazing. That's so amazing. So we'll be having Emmanuel. So we'll be having Emmanuel, our co-founder at RUMONEY. We are going to be having him join us off stage now and give us the introduction of our guest today. Our guest today. So we are going to be having Emmanuel join us off stage now to introduce our guest today. So Emmanuel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you. Hello, geniuses. Can you hear me, Prosperity?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. Wow. So it's just a beautiful time here again at our Genius Timeout. And say, like Prosperity has said, you're all welcome to this place. And this evening, we're going to be having somebody very phenomenal and incredible, amazing in every aspect of it. We'll be having Blessing Abeng. So let me just go through our bio so that you can get to know more about this very interesting person. I'm sure by the time we go into the show, you'll understand what we're talking about and why we are so excited. So Blessing Abeng is a branding and communication expert dedicated to helping brands identify and communicate identities and tell better stories. She builds brand and communication strategies through tech products, services growth and sales to help brand communicate with their team, target audience. She has worked for great brands like Stars, Facebook, Heritage Bolt, Quick Check, and so many others. She's the co-founder and director of communications at Investi for Good, where she drives the mission of the non-profit to create and increase the earning power of 1 million African youths through tech training and resources for the growth of the African startup ecosystem. Blessing Abeng was also the CMO and co-founder of Disha, that was acquired by Flutterwave. She has mentored youths in communities like She Leads Africa, Stars, African Youth Entrepreneurship Award, amongst many others. She has trained over 5,000 creators in branding, communication, marketing, and business. When she's not working, she's creating content or writing columns for top sites like Business Day, Connect Nigeria, and many more. So guys, this is Blessing Abeng, and we are so delighted to be having the experts when it comes to branding. We are so delighted to have you. Well, guys, let's welcome her now. Let's welcome her, guys. Let's see the energy in the comments. If you're excited to see Blessing Abeng this evening, if you're excited to have her join us on this Genius Timeout, let's see it in the chat. Let's see it in the chat. Let's see the fire coming in. So yes, you're very, very welcome, Miss Abeng, Miss Blessing Abeng. We're so grateful and delightful. It's such a big delight to have you here.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Emmanuel, can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me, guys? Hello. Okay, I can see we are live. So I love the energy. Okay, awesome. So if you are so excited about our amazing guest we'll be having today, I want you guys to just put it down there. I want you to write it there. We are having another genius, another amazing, a very amazing genius join us this evening. I am so excited. Awesome. I am so excited. So I want you to value your excitement with fire. So I want you to value your excitement with fire. So represent it with fire. So on a scale of 1 to 10 fire, I want you to share how fireful you are about this night, how excited you are about the session we'll be having this evening. I want you to, okay, I want you to, awesome, 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 awesome. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, okay. I can see after this fire is on a scale. Is on a scale. Very, very, very impressive. Very impressive. Awesome. Okay, okay. Okay, 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 okay. So while we wait, let's do something amazing that we always do on the Genius Time Out. And we are always discussing about a certain topic, but before we do that, we would always like to know your thoughts about that topic. So what do you understand by branding? What do you understand by branding? I'm definitely sure you've had it somewhere before. Is it the logo? Is it the feeling? What exactly are your thoughts on branding? What exactly are your thoughts on branding? Before our guest join us on the stage, before she joins us on the stage. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on branding? What are your thoughts? I would read three people's thoughts, then we would have Miss Blessing Abeng join us on stage. I'm so excited actually. Okay, so let's bring it on, guys. Awesome. So what are your thoughts on branding? What are your thoughts on branding? What do you understand by branding? I think I did that second too fast. Awesome. Okay. So what is branding to you? Hmm. Okay. Branding is simply what people know you for. I think that's very, very fundamental. Broke it down to the simplest form. Branding is people's perception and impression of you. Um, that's very awesome from Physical. Then we have Angela Oluwa who says branding is a form of sophisticated packaging. Oh my god, that English is killing. that portrays a clear message to help solve a problem. That's very, very nice. A branding is a form of sophisticated packaging that portrays a clear message to help solve a problem. Don't worry, tonight we're going to be getting everything broken down for us, and we'll be able to understand what every word you mean here. Every word you mean here, we'll be able to understand exactly what it means. They are so very, you guys are geniuses, actually. You are. Branding is the promotion of a company or a product using a logo design, vision statement, mission statement, or anything appealing to the human eye. Wonderful one. That's very cool. Peculiar says branding is how you present yourself or business to people. Branding is what you are all about in your business. Branding is an identity you create to help your audience connect with you as a family. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So awesome. We are going to be having we are going to be okay. Okay. So we are going to be having our amazing guests join us on stage right now. I'm so excited to have her here with us. I'm so excited to have her here with us. All of your definitions are awesome. You guys are geniuses. Just give yourself a round of applause. Miss Blessing is going to be joining us on stage, and she's going to be sharing with us 7 secrets for building memorable brands. Just as you had when we read her bio, she has a lot of experiences building building very great brands with great organizations in Africa. And she's also going to be sharing with us the strategies, the ideas, ideologies around branding. And I am so sure we are going to have a very, very great time tonight. So, guys, let's give her a round of applause as we welcome her upstage. Let's give her a round of applause as we welcome her upstage. Okay.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. Hi.
Hello, ma'am. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Fine, thank you. Should I just go ahead?
Okay.
Let's just go ahead.
Awesome. I'm still struggling to see. I haven't really seen you here. I guess it's the issue on my end here.
Can
It's
everyone on
awesome. It's awesome
YouTube
having.
see me? Let's ask them. So in case they could see me, that would be fun. Can everyone on YouTube see me? Hello. Oh my God, the excitement is amazing. I'm not seeing anyone.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, can you hear and see me? Can you hear and
Wow.
see me? Would you like me to rejoin?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Well, everyone else can see me. It's just you. From what I can see from the YouTube channel, everyone can see me. Perfect. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. While we wait for our host to come back, I will just go right into it, and I hope you have a fantastic time. So, I am supposed to give you 7 tips. 7. I planned for 5, but I would give you 7. Don't worry. So I saw a lot of definitions of branding, and I found that very interesting. Good job, every single one of you. In one way or the other, you described branding to the best of your ability, and you are not entirely, like, you're not wrong at all. But now I'm going to give you a definition that can really, really help how you define and see branding. So a lot of times I get a lot of questions where people ask me, oh, hi, Blessing, what is branding? And why does it concern me? For me and how I define it, branding is who you are consistently as everyone, as your target audience interacts with you, right? And the reason I give that definition is because let's take who is in the comments that I can use as example. Let's use Victor Adelaja as an example. I can't see his face, but we're going to try. Victor Adelaja is a person that is currently on. Wow, Victor, you see that I'm using you as an example. Thank you for clapping. So Victor Adelaja is currently on this call, and for example, if his friends or if someone was looking for him, they're going to be like, I'm looking for Victor. And you would say, which Victor? Right? Because Victor Adelaja is not the only Victor in the world. So we're curious and we're like, which Victor? And then he would probably say his full name and say Victor Adelaja. And they would say, okay, can you describe him a little more? Because maybe we've never met Victor Adelaja. And then we'll say he's a man or he's a guy and he has done XYZ. He is good at this. He has this sister or that brother. He's this tall. When he talks, he explains, he breaks things down when he talks. And so you begin to describe different aspects of Victor. Now, if you take that aside and ask yourself, is Victor the only Victor in the world? No. Is Victor Adelaja the only Victor Adelaja in the world? No. Is he the only man in the world? No. That's exactly how branding works. So branding is not your logo, it's not packaging, it's not your color, it's not just your identity. It is all of those things coming together to work together to make you the unique person that you are. So, for example, if someone asks you, who is Blessing? You're not just going to say, Blessing is a wife, or Blessing is the co-founder of Aggressive for Good, or Blessing is the founder of a startup that got acquired by Flutterwave, or Blessing. Like, you're not going to just, because those things individually are not Blessing. You can't just be like, Blessing is the girl with plenty hair. That alone is not Blessing. But everything coming together, working together to make me is what makes Blessing, right? And this can be tricky because who you are is a big swinging pendulum between who you were and who you're about to be. It's like you're stuck in a phase, like, which one am I? But as long as you are aware of your journey and you understand that branding is a process, it really, really helps you and it changes your perspective in general, right? So always remember, branding is not a destination, it's a journey. It is who you are consistently as your target audience interacts with you. So a very key part of that, based on this definition that I've given you, is number one, self-awareness. If you're going to go about branding, you need to think about self-awareness, right? And this also applies to businesses in the sense that you can't just start a business and say that's your brand, because whether or not you like it, whether you like it or not, you already have a brand. The question now is it the brand that you want? Is it the brand that you are proud of? Is it the brand that you are excited to have, right? The process of branding is ensuring that you build the kind of brand that you want, the process of building the brand that you want. And the type of brand that you end up building starts first with being aware, being self-aware, reflecting, going back to the drawing board and saying, first, who am I? I always break down branding into three things: identity, communication, and credibility. So picking the identity part, you cannot just define, like, you need to know who you are first to be able to tell the world that this is who I am, before the world will be able, like, the world might define you in ways, but you might not be comfortable with those ways that the world is defining you. So first ask yourself, who am I? Spend some time doing some self-discovery. One of the things that I recommend is, maybe you don't know your personality. Maybe you don't know if you're an introvert or an extrovert. Go and take a personality test. There's something that I recommend called 16personalities.net. So 16personalities.net. If you go there and you answer the questions honestly as yourself, like in your true self, it's going to come up with some answers and tell you, okay, this is your personality. Why I really like it is not that it's always correct, is that it helps you articulate, okay, these are the things that I agree with and these are the things that I do not agree with. If you're a business, I'm sure you're wondering, how can you use it? Same approach. Ask yourself, if my business was a human, how would my business respond to this? A lot of times when we go about branding, we forget the human element. We don't think about the human element. So think about the human element in your business and say, if my business was a human being, what kind of human being would it be, right? Also, while you're doing your self-reflecting, think about, what things am I good at? What knowledge do I have? What skills do I have? Another beautiful challenge you can do is ask 5 people who are close to you, to describe you with 5 adjectives each. And you as well, describe yourself with 5 adjectives. When you do that, what do you get? Like, what information do you get? Like, are there some things that are recurring between you and the other 5 people? Are there things that those other 5 people saw that you didn't see, right? There are times that we think, oh, we're outgoing, but our friends and people that are close to us think maybe not so much. When you ask your customers 5 to describe you with 5 adjectives, what 5 adjectives do they describe you with? These are key things to look out for. So spend some time reflecting, asking yourself questions, identify, what are the things that I like about myself and what are the things that I do not like that I want to improve on. That's the very, very first step. Once you can do that, you would have dealt with the internal part of your identity, right? Most times we focus on the visual part of identity. We don't think about the non-visual part of our identity, and it's the non-visual part that plays a big role for our visual and the way that we present ourselves. Okay, so once you're done with the self reflection and the self awareness exercise, the second thing you're going to do is, who is your target audience? You need to figure out who your target audience is. One of my favorite examples to give is like if we were all going fishing and we all agree that we're going fishing, we're going for a fishing exercise, and we said we wanted to catch a shark, right? All of us, all of you who are present right now, we're going fishing, we want to catch a shark. What water body are we going to look for the shark in? Please tell me in the comment section. So tell me, what water body are we going to be looking for the shark in? Secondly, what baits are we going to use? So let me know in the comment section. Just tell me, if you're going fishing with me, what water body would you look for to catch a shark? Like, we want to catch a shark together. Which water body are we heading to? Okay, I'm seeing somebody say ocean. Okay. Ocean. I'm seeing more oceans. Yeah. So I'm seeing people say ocean. I'm seeing, I'm guessing some people are going to say sea. The reason that we're calling those things as opposed to, what's it called, a swimming pool or a lake, is because sharks don't live in a swimming pool. Sharks don't live in rivers. Sharks don't live in a lake. They are not going to be like, you cannot be hanging around lakes and expecting that you would see a shark there. That's not going to happen. You might catch all those small fish and fishes, but you will not find a shark. If we were also going fishing, we would not be able to use a worm as a bait. Usually, you could use worms as baits for smaller fish, right? But for a big fish like a shark, you need to use smaller fishes, like Aduke has said, or you need to use like a blooded, piece of meat to attract their attention. Why am I telling you all of this? Because if you don't know your target audience, you're not going to know where to find them. If you don't know your target audience, you're not going to know how to catch their attention. So you really need to think about, like, who is my target audience? Who are they? What are they like? What problems do they have? Who do I want to focus on? And I know this can be tricky sometimes, but it's so important to know, like, your target market should not be everybody. So maybe you want to focus on tech employers. Maybe you want to focus on people who are trying to figure out their lives. So number one, remember, know yourself. Number two, know your target audience. Okay. So you need to know your target audience. You need to know what can attract their attention. And if you don't know, ask questions. A lot of times we're always assuming that we know what our target audience wants. We don't test our assumptions. We don't ask questions. We don't go back to those target audience and see if really what we think they want is what they want. So learn to ask better questions to be able to figure out who your target audience is. So once you move from that, and let's assume that now you know your target audience, you know yourself, you know your target audience, the third thing you want to do is know your value. What is the value that you have to offer? And this could be in any way. Please don't overthink your value. Don't overthink it. A lot of times I've seen people overthink it. And I always give this quote where I say, a lot of times we overestimate what it is that people know and underestimate what we know. Because there's been times where people think, oh, everybody's so good at this thing, everybody's so good at that, it's too easy. You might be really, really good at boiling rice, right? Sorry, using the most basic example. Not everybody can boil rice. Some people will boil rice, the rice will be hard. Some people will boil rice, it will be too soft. But you know how to boil rice in a way that is always perfect. You can teach that, you can share that. Don't diminish yourself and feel like the little that you know is not enough, because no matter how little you know, there's somebody who doesn't even know it as well as you. So don't be scared to share that little that you know, right? So we've said, know yourself, know your value. Know yourself, know your target audience, know your value. So these little things are the things that are going to come together to help you define what kind of identity do you want to build. A lot of times when we think about the kind of identity that we want to build, most times we just think one way, like, oh, visual identity. But I find that there are other ways to make people connect with you, right? So for example, I think I've written an article on my LinkedIn that talks about, branding and the five senses, where you can engage all five senses when you're going about your branding. And the most beautiful thing about it, remember in my definition, I said branding is who you are consistently. That consistently part is very important. When you have figured out your value, The fourth thing that I would say is make a promise, right? Making a promise means that you know the value that's you know the value that you have to offer. You know yourself, you know how far you're willing to go, you know your audience. Now, based on the problem that you know that they have and you're willing to solve, you've defined the value that you want to offer. Now you come there and you make a promise and say, this is the way that I can show up for you. This is the way that I can do this for you. It would be so heartbreaking if somebody what's it called, if you're thirsty, right, and you buy water on the road, and then at the end of the day the water does not quench your thirst. Is that one water? The basic promise of water is to quench your thirst. And so when you make a promise, it's super, super important for you to be able to make and keep that promise. It's your ability to keep that promise consistently that's going to make all of the difference, right? So remember, we said know yourself, know your target audience, know your value, and then make a promise. So the fifth thing would be communicate your value and communicate your promise. So communicate your value and your promise, right? A lot of times your promise is often your unique selling point, the thing that makes you special. And you don't have to overthink it. I always say that your unique selling point doesn't have to be one thing. It could be your process, it could be your skills, it could be there's so many things that could make your unique selling point. It could be how you tell your stories. One of the things people used to tell me a lot back then was that they love how I explain things because I make it so, so simple. Like I make it so simple, so relatable. I never knew that. I just thought, I was saying basic things and just sharing. But it became a unique selling point for me because I have a special gift of breaking things down. So I don't undervalue that gift. I don't take it for granted. I see it as a great way to be a good teacher, right? Where I can teach you things in a way that you understand them. So now we're at communicate your value. Don't bring your value down. Don't bring your promise down. People are not going to know what you have to offer except you communicate it. So state it clearly what it is that you do, how you're going to add value to people. Let it be clear, right? It's so important to communicate your value. This is where storytelling comes in, your ability to, tell your story, your ability to share the information that people need to know. Usually I always say that there's a whole funnel thing that happens when it comes to sales. At the point of awareness, people don't know your name, but they know their problem. And when they Google their problem, will they find you? So number 6 thing would be visible, show your work. So many times I've seen people, they pray, but the prayer that they are praying, literally, it's just somebody mentioning their name in one room that will answer that prayer. I've worked in agencies, and when we're in the agency and we're trying to find influencers to work for a particular brand, everybody is allowed to contribute and suggest influencers, right? At that time when we're suggesting influencers, we need to see that this was like back then when I used to work for an agency. When we're suggesting influencers, is the people who are memorable, the people that we remember and are visible. Those are the people that we would call. And the reason why we know those people is because they were visible, they did the work, they showed up, they kept their promise. So please don't hide your work. Don't feel like, oh, I don't know enough, I can't share. No. And don't think that you have to be an expert to share. Show your work, show your process. Like as you're doing it, be talking about it. As you came for this event, in fact, as I'm talking, feel free to take pictures of me and post one thing that you've learned. Say you attended XYZ events and this was one thing you learned out of it. This was one thing you took out of it. It is mind blowing the kind of changes that happen when you're visible. The people who were factory workers, I think there's this guy who used to do his hand like this, right? What's his name? It starts with a K. So he just never spoke on a video. All he did was show up and point at things that were obvious. Today, he's an influencer for Boss. Like he is a super influencer. He's making so much money. He has been followed by so many people. What's the difference between 2 years ago and now? He was visible. He was in our faces almost every single day doing the same thing, and people were reposting him. So that's so, so, so important. Try your possible best to ensure that you're visible, you're sharing your work, you are showing your work, you are showing your process. Even times where you don't know stuff, you can come and have a conversation where you're asking the question. Thank you so much. Yes, it was Kabi. When you are asking a question and you're like, oh, I was going through XYZ, I was stuck, and so I didn't know how to do one thing or the other, right? Please come and help me. And you can invite thought leaders. Let's say you feel like you're not an expert. Invite thought leaders who are experts. Ask them your questions. If you had a challenge and you figured it out, share how you did that thing. Don't overthink it. If it's that you never knew how XYZ worked, and then you now did something, you figured it out, share it. Share your work, share your results, share situations where you're keeping your promise, share testimonials from people praising you for keeping your promise. Things like that is really, really important. Then the last and final thing would be collaborate, 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 right? As you go through life, one of like social media algorithms can change. Everything might change, but the one thing that would not change is the fact that human beings need each other. And so much is stronger when we do things together. So here I am on this live. I was invited, I'm speaking, Prosperity invited me, I'm speaking, we're getting this done. This is collaboration. A lot of you would probably never have it, like you probably never have heard of me if Prosperity did not invite me to this show to come and speak, right? So it's very, very important to collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. If you and don't collaborate just because somebody has a lot of followers. Don't collaborate just because somebody just can blow. It's like, oh, you let's say you have a fashion line. Next thing you want to come back, you want to wear your dress. Always ask yourself, in terms of value, in terms of our mission, does this align? Sometimes we also overthink who we can collaborate with. If you have customers, people who are currently in your what's it called, that buying from you, feature them, collaborate with them. There is no harm in collaborating with your customers. Celebrate your customers. Sometimes we are always thinking about macro influencers, big influencers. What about the influencers who are your friends that have consistently been buying from you? Why not celebrate them? Why not give them something? Help them see that you see them, you know them, you respect, and you are happy that they showed up for you, right? Make them feel special. That's really how you go about this thing. Always think about, do our values align? There is no reason why a vegan influencer should be partnering with KFC. For no good, like that cannot work. It cannot. So always think about it. Do our values align? Do our missions align? Do our goals align? If this person did not have as many followers, would I still be happy collaborating with them? That's how your brain should think about these things. So yes. I hope you remember the 7 things that I've shared with you. But of all the 7 things that I have shared with you, it's so important that when you make a promise, you keep it. So ensure that every time you do your work, you do it with excellence. You do it and sign your name at the end of it. Because even if you're doing a 9 to 5, at the end of the day, people are going to ask who did it, and when they do, would they be proud that it was, would you be proud to say it was you? Would you be proud of your work? Try to do the work that you're proud of. Every time you have an opportunity to show up, do it so excellently. Show up excellently so that that you give it your best. You know that you did your best. The more excellent that you are, the more people are going to show up for you. And as you think about your target market, also think about focusing on one. You may not get 100 people to come and buy from you immediately, but if you can find one person who is willing to buy from you and you give that person your best, one person's attention, and you give that person your best, that one person will bring 100 people for you, I can assure you. So keep it simple, keep it clean, and I hope that you have learned something today. Ask me questions, and don't forget to take that picture we talked about and share one good thing that you learned from this events. Okay, thank you so much. It was lovely speaking to you. Ask me questions.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for joining us, Ma. We are really very happy to have you. Thank you for all you shared. As expected, so the genius delivery. I'm very, very sure a whole lot of us have questions. But everyone, I'm so excited. All of these tips, from knowing yourself, knowing your audience, knowing your value, and making a promise and communicating your value, your promise, being visible, collaborating. We've gotten to see a lot of things from different perspectives, and also thank you so much for the analogies. I'm very sure many of us won't forget. We won't forget this. So if you have questions, guys, let's share our questions now. While we have the chance. Awesome. So I want to ask a question ahead of when they are ready for the question. My question actually is in the sense of embodying marketers or embodying content creators. That point where we're on the growth process and we need to show up consistently and repeatedly. So what would be like, because I know that process is not really as enjoyable, because step by step, low engagement from people and all. So how can we keep being consistent with telling our stories, with showing our growth process, and what kind of rule of the thumb do you have that would guide us through that process to eventually have a very firm foot?
That's a brilliant question. So whenever I talk about consistency, I always give this analogy, which is simply brush your teeth, right? You wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth. You wake up the next morning, you brush your teeth. Like it's like second nature. You just wake up and you brush your teeth, and you don't think about it as though you are being consistent. There are days you might forget that, and maybe you had an emergency, or you just woke up in the morning and you ate and you forgot to brush your teeth. Does that mean you will never brush your teeth again? I hope not. I hope that the next time you now decide to brush, you would brush even harder. And so that's like my way of looking at consistency. It's not about missing a day, it's about continuing and even continuing harder, even when you miss a day, right? Just think about it like brushing your teeth. If you miss a day, you go harder the next day. Also, don't look at it from the perspective like you don't only brush your teeth because you are scared that you're going to interact with 100 people. Even the one person you're interacting with, you know that you don't want them to have the experience of bad breath from you, right? So it's so important to think about that thing that I said last, which was serve one person. If one person shows up for you, serve that one person. That one person is going to bring you so much more people. A friend of mine always gives the example that if you have even only 100 followers, let's say you have 50, and you had to create dinner for 50 people, it's not easy. It's not beans. You get like it's hard work. And so if you can take that much precision to serve 50 people and you know how much effort it's going to take, why not give your best? Like, why not show up the best way possible? And the third part of that is, I remember when Lasisi started creating content, nobody was like, barely anybody was following him. It was very, very little followers. But here's what happened when he finally, like, when people started finally discovering him and sharing his content, you could scroll down to the bottom and you could see other things that he had created, and you could now engage with those things. So maybe you might not get 100 likes now, but keep doing it, keep building it as though it's a content bank. The day that it finally blows, you will be prepared. Look at Ashake is just relaunching old music that he already made back to back. He's now looking like he has a crazy work rate, like it's a bad guy. But think about it, he already created those things way ahead of time. So really think about it, ask yourself, how can I create a content back? How can I show up in the best possible way before, how can I show up in the best possible way so that when I finally blow, people will say, overnight success.
Awesome, wow. Awesome, wow. So showing up to the audience of one, giving your attention to not the numbers, but making sure you are delivering as much value to the few you have. And it's the whole thing about consistency is not about it's not about just starting, it's about just continuing. Even if there's a course, you can always still go on and keep going. And we have so many more questions, but I guess
Let's try to take as many as we can.
all right, ma'am. All right, ma'am. So, Israel asks that when trying to create a brand, is it advisable to put yourself out before your business, or should your business come first?
Israel, it depends. Totally depends on what style of brand you're building. Your business can be totally different from you as a person. And it's possible for you to push yourself first. And because of the fact that people trust you, they would come over and, align with your brand. A good example is Rihanna. Rihanna pushed herself first, and then she went on to build Fenty. And people just transferred the trust from Rihanna to Fenty. However, the people that blew, like when McDonald's blew, a lot of people didn't even know the founders of McDonald's, right? You can build a brand that is independent of you. It doesn't have to be tied to you. I always say that Tony Lumulu, for example, he builds a brand that is very connected to him. Like you hear of UBA, Tony Lumulu is behind it. You hear of a couple of brands and businesses that he owns. You're like Tony Lumulu. You hear Tony Lumulu Foundation. You hear Tony Lumulu. That's how he wants to build your brand and build his brand. However, there are a couple of people who, when they hear Dangote, they don't even really think about like Dangote cement. They don't think about Dangote first. They think about the cement because of the way that the branding was done. So you can decide how you want your branding to be done. If you want to lead with your business first, or if you want to lead with yourself first, or if you even want to do both, it's totally up to you. There's no correct answer.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. Um, a friend of mine, Barry Becky, Let Tambari, asked a question: possible mistakes in branding.
Okay. In
Like,
the future, I would ask that maybe you sort of phrase it better and say, like, what are possible mistakes that people can make in branding, and you could be more specific. It helps to be able to answer the question in a way that I can directly help you. But I would assume that what you mean is what are possible mistakes in branding, like in branding in general. So many things. People think that branding is packaging. It is not. If you package and your content is messed up, at the end of the day you've just overpromised and under-delivered, and it would be harder and harder to get trust back. So try your best not to focus on packaging. Instead, ensure that your content is solid and your packaging is also solid. Your packaging is what would attract, but your content is what would keep. So don't just say, oh, packaging, and focus on packaging. Branding is not packaging. Another mistake or myth that I've heard is, fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that you should fake it till you make it, because if you're faking it, chances are you will break character and you would lose trust from your customers. However, if you grow into it, meaning that you recognize that you are on point A, but you're consistently doing something to be better each day, you would carry your audience along and people can see your growth, and it's even a better story than faking it till you make it. So you don't have to pop up looking perfect. You can start imperfect and grow into perfection, and then people are going to be like, oh, I remember when XYZ person started. It's like how people talk about Ashake and they're like, oh, I remember when Ashake started. I remember this is video. Like the story is so much more interesting because we experienced that part of him and we can see the side of him and we're like, oh, growth. Growth stories are so much better. Another mistake I've seen is that people assume that branding only happens on social media. It does not. Branding is a 360 thing. There is social media, there is real life as well. If you are paying on social media, but then I meet you in real life and your energy is not matching, that's going to be a problem. Just imagine that you meet me, you ask me about branding in real life and I don't know. That's going to be like a break and a breach of your trust. At the end of the day, just think about branding as a trust currency. You're consistently working hard to earn and keep the trust of your target audience or your specifically your customers. Yeah, so those are some that I can go on and on. There's so many, but at least let's manage this one.
yes, ma. Sure will. Um, okay. Lyrica Duro asked a very fun question. What's the difference? Is there a difference between volunteering and collaboration? And I guess
Absolutely.
what you mean.
Absolutely. Volunteering is an organization is doing something and you want to go and help them. You might not be the only person. There are times where
Mm,
volunteering could be a form of collaboration, but volunteering specifically is most likely you just going to do something, maybe to get something out of it that may like impact you specifically. However, you can collaborate, work with somebody else to build something or create something, create content, do whatever for other people to make other people's lives better. Of course, volunteering does make people's lives better and all that, but that's not the primary goal. Like you don't just go and volunteer because you want to make people's lives better. It's like you want to add value in some way directly to a cause, or you want to add value in some way to better your skill, or you want to learn something. Like the goals is what makes it different. Also the dynamism of the interaction is also what makes it different as well. In both cases the relationships are often symbiotic, but with volunteering most times you're the one giving without so much expectation as what you're getting back. However, with collaboration it's symbiotic, right? You give, you get, and then the audience also gets. Yes.
awesome, ma'am. Awesome, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. We have another question from Araoluwanimi. I guess we make this the last question, or should we continue, ma'am?
It's fine. Just go ahead. Let's just take as many questions as we have so far. We'll stop at Bukumi's question.
Okay, okay. So Aroluwanimi says, how do you manage a situation where you make sure you deliver the best for a customer, but you are not being paid well? Because situation like this can make one to be discouraged.
One discouraged. Okay, I totally understand that. I think the first things would be from, I mean, who set the price? Like, did you already say clearly what the price was going to be before you went into that relationship with your customer? Another thing that I see is that when you give discounts, it's so important to tell people that, it is a discount. So let them know what your 100% rate is and include it in your invoice or in your conversation to say, oh, I'm happy to give you a 50% discount, and say why you are giving that 50% discount, so that when they're going to tell their friends and anybody else, they can effectively clear like clearly know that this was the right value for it, and they got this discount because of XYZ reason. It's also very important to, when you do things at a discount, when you decide to do things at a discount, you have to give it your best, because nobody forced you. You accepted to do it at that discount, so you still have to give it your 100%, just as though you were doing it at a 100% price. And if you feel like you're not getting paid well, maybe you need to figure out, are you doing the best you possibly can, and are you communicating that best in a way that is valuable to the customer? So it's possible for you to think that you're doing your best for the customer, but that's not what the customer wants. So your ability to ask questions and ask, how can I do this better? What are your expectations for this, even before you start, really, really helps and sets the pace. So you can know very well if you are really doing your best for that customer. So you can be doing your best, but it might not be the best for that customer. Let me know if this clarifies things around Luami.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. So Barry Betty asked another question. She said, how do I launch a new product so that it fits with my existing brand? Because it seems difficult.
Yeah, but so the problems are, I don't know what your existing brand is. I don't know what your own brand is. I don't know what product you want to launch. And so those are different factors that would answer the question. But I'm going to assume. So let's assume you have made everybody in the world believe that you are a fashion babe, like you are a stylish fashion influencer. Say if your brand is fashion first, and now you want to launch a food brand. I don't think that you need to think about it as, oh, this is very different from me, because no matter how fashionable you are, you still eat. You are a human being that eats. I mean, I hope. So if you eat and you're a fashion lover, there is no harm in exploring or exposing people to like the food side of you, the food and the fun side of you, the things that you are interested in. Of course, you can go and build this food brand and nobody would know it has anything to do with you. But think about someone like Kanye. Kanye was a musician. Everybody knew him as a musician. In fact, people knew him as a producer, and he had to work really, really hard to convince people that he was a rapper. When he finished that, he now said, oh, but I have a fashion side. He started to talk about the fashion side. Why? He wears clothes. He wears clothes. So he can tell people about the fashion side. And then from the fashion side, he went and he launched a brand, a whole business called Yeezy. And he started to wear the clothes of the brand. He started to make his family wear the clothes of the brand. Now, does this mean that Kanye is no longer a musician? No, but he found a way to say, I'm a musician, but look at me, I'm wearing these clothes. So just think about, like, in what other aspect does this brand show up in your normal life, in your day-to-day routine? And if you feel like it doesn't fit at all, it can have a life of its own. Rihanna launched Fenty. We knew her as a musician, we knew her as an actress, but we didn't know Rihanna as a makeup head. We didn't know that that was possible. Kim Kardashians and the whole Kardashian family, they keep launching different things every other day. Today they launch fashion, they launch makeup, they just launch things, right? And their own excuse is that it looks beautiful on them and they care about the beauty of women. So what's the unique thing that ties those two things, like you, your brand, and the product or business that you want to launch together? If you can't find it, you can launch that thing on its own. It can have a life of its own. You don't even have to be the face of the business or the brand. You can have another person be the face of the brand and the business.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much, ma. So, Barry Betty, I hope that answers your question. We have another question from Joy, who says,
Sorry,
what
one
if
thing one thing Barry said was like, one is digital, one isn't. That's not a problem now. See, digital is just a construct, to be honest. Everything we're doing digitally also affects in real life. We're doing this video digitally now, but I'm sitting down in my real life doing the video. Do you understand? You can make anything digital. So even if you're a farmer, you can show us the content of you farming. You can show us the farm. You can show us, like, this is there's a farm girl that I saw. She gave all of the animals in her farm personalities, which is speak on their behalf. That you'll be like, oh, this is Barry, and Barry is saying XYZ. You can make it interesting. You can make it fun. You can tell us, you can make it educational if you don't want to be fun. You can give us educational perspective and be like, oh, did you know that yams are vegetables? Did you know that XYZ things happen? By the way, yams are vegetable. You can Google it. But yeah, you can do those kind of things where people can actually learn from you. Don't think about it as, oh, this one is digital, this one is physical. Everything is physical, everything can be digital. So think about it from that perspective and it could change your mindset. Okay, so going to joy. What if I'm working for a brand and I also want to build man? How do I balance this? So, guys, you are a human being. As I said, for example, I have a 9 to 5. I am a wife. I am, there's so many things that I can do and I possibly do. It's possible for you to build your brand based on your expertise. You could about the things that it is that you know without necessarily mentioning your company name. I just spoke to you about branding, communications. I gave you tips. In all of those tips, did I give you any example of my company? No. So there is a world where you can build your brand, your personal brand, while working for an organization. Now, if you're building something that is competing with that organization, maybe you're doing an exact product that is the same as what they're doing, then that's a problem because you're supposed to be spending your time on your 9 to 5, right? And so you come in, let's say they're selling soap, you now start selling your own soap. That can be sketchy. That's just not ethically correct. I'd say maybe wait till you quit, build the expertise as an esthetician or somebody who has deep knowledge about soap. And the day that you finally quit, you can come out and be like, oh, guys. So, as you've always known, for the last 1 year, I've been talking to you guys about soap and how soap can affect your skin, how to pick the best soap for your skin and whatnot, whatnot. I have finally launched my soap. And everybody's going to be like, oh, wow, you've always talked about soap. There's no surprise there. Do you get what I mean?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. I guess this would be the last question from John and from Sharon. Sharon, your question came surprisingly late today. She said she's reading on LinkedIn currently, and her target audience as a copywriter, a corporate organization. When can she begin engaging individual clients? When she wants to begin engaging individual clients, will she be trusted?
Yes, you'll be trusted because instead of thinking about it as B2C and B2B, think about it as H to H, right? Human to human. Behind every business, there's a human being. Behind every individual, there's a human being. So, like, at the end of the day, would you be able to connect with a human being? You can definitely. On LinkedIn, there are human beings that are there. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm a human being, but human beings that are there. So, if you can even show me things that, like, I started my work in branding, building for corporate organizations, and those corporate organizations, the CEOs, the CTOs, the C-level executive, EDs and all of those people, director generals, will look at me and be like, oh, Blessing, this thing you're doing for my company, can you come and do it for me as an individual? And I was able to cascade my learnings and say, okay, this is a way that we can apply it uniquely to you as a personal brand or as an individual, right? So you can do exactly the same thing. You could also figure out, okay, these strategies that I've used for corporate organization, what is the individual version? Like if I was using this for individuals, how would I do it? So when you're ready to focus on individual clients, your messaging can also be directed to speak to individual clients. Also see that I taught you guys through this thing and I was able to speak to personal brands and business brands. And it's evident in kind of getting as well. So you too can do it. Don't limit yourself. Don't box yourself. I think one other person that I wanted to take his question was Bukumi. How do I discover my purpose? How do I know what I stand for? I have a workbook for this. I'm going to share that workbook with I will share that workbook with you, Prosperity. I don't know how you're going to disseminate it. Oh, Bukumi, you know what? You can DM me or anybody who wants to figure out, how do they discover their purpose. My basic answer for that is the only way to really discover your purpose is by finding things to do and consistently doing stuff, because that's when you know what you want, what you don't want, and how you want to live your life. You're not going to find out by sitting down one random day. People who have discovered their purpose, maybe they travel, they were doing something, and then it occurred to them that, oh my god, this is a big deal, this is a problem, I want to fix it. So by doing stuff, you would find what's it called? You would find newer questions to answer. You might find newer problems to solve, and you might find newer passions that you never knew existed. Oh my God, Jinka, the question you're asking me, I'm going to answer it tomorrow in a LinkedIn newsletter that I write every month. So here's what you can definitely focus on one niche before diversifying to other niches. You can do more than one at a time. You can batch them together. There's a girl who was an accountant and a graphic designer. She said, "Listen, I don't know, I want to pick one." And I'm like, "Why do you have to pick one? You could be a graphic designer for accountants. You could be an accountant for graphic designers. You could be an accountant that visually represents her accounting. So you don't have to always pick one. There's so many ways to go about it. There might be connecting factor amongst, like, between everything. You might be the connecting factor. You might find a better way to explain or describe it. Don't put pressure on yourself. I'm writing an article tomorrow about multi-talented people, so be on the lookout for it on LinkedIn, and you will get it from me. Thank you, everyone. I think I'm done now,
Thank
but
you
I
very
want
much.
to do this, and I hope that you take a screenshot of it and you share it on social media. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So on behalf of everyone, on behalf of everyone at RUMONEY, before they say their thank you, so I still feel very sorry. I've not even been able to really express myself because we are very, very, very happy to have you. I just want to say a very big thank you. I want to say a very, very big thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
It was a
Thank you so
pleasure
much
for
for
me.
joining us here.
Thank you so much. Thank
So
you. Thank you.
okay, so now everyone is really expressing their thanks. So I'm just going to highlight them. Okay. So Angela says thank you. Victor says thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and for what you've done today, we take it as an encouragement. We won't stop what we are doing. We'll try reaching more people, keep helping more people get to know how they can grow with digital marketing. So thank you so much for the support you've given on to us. We are very, very grateful, and we are looking
It's my
forward to
pleasure.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
We are going to be sharing our testimonials, our success stories, and how far we've come due to the time you spent with us today. Thank you so much, Ma. So
Thank
with this knowledge, you are more equipped to raise amazing brands in Africa. Thank you so much, Ma.
thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Have a nice day. Bye.
Yeah, bye, Ma. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. Miss Blessing is available on she's on Instagram. She shares so very, very, very valuable content on social media. I'm always sleeping on her pages. So that's how I know that. So you can always engage with her. You can learn so much more about branding, about being a content creator, about having a very, very great personal life. And literally I just advise you to give her a follow and definitely learn with her. So she has a lot of she has some free products. I'll share the link to our website on our community. You can always go to our website. She has some books there. Can go there, read them, develop yourself, build your capacity. And I'm so sure just keep going, and I'm definitely proud of this amazing part. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. I wanted to share some things with our students on the training. So if you are joining us on the training, remember our consistency challenge still holds. Every day, tell your story. This amazing session, I'm very sure you gained a lot. Take screenshot. I'm sure you took screenshots. I don't just know if I put it very well for you to take my slide. But take screenshots. I hope you took screenshots. Share it on social media. Tell everybody what you learned, how far you've gone. Tag Miss Blessing, tag myself, tag RUMONEY. I'm very, very sure that would also play a very, very important brand in you building an important part in you building your personal brand. And if there's one thing I'm going to emphasize, I'm going to tell you that a very major point I took out of this is let your real value, let your true value be bigger than your passive value. So it's not just about you showing up online, not about the packaging, but make sure that whatever value you are presenting is greater than what people think of you to be. So be intense about building capacity, build your knowledge, build your skill, keep getting better, build depth. Don't just be the old if they call you up on stage, if I invited you here, would you be able to present something? So I want you to take that very, very intentionally, and with that anger and with this energy you got here tonight, go and develop yourself. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for staying through this 1 hour 3 minutes. I thought we'd stay longer. So subscribe to this YouTube channel. Next week we'll be having two amazing guests, two very, very amazing guests, and I'll share with you on the community. Subscribe to this YouTube channel so you'll be notified. Follow RUMONEY on our social media, and we also share amazing tips. And we're building a very big community there where you can always learn and get tips on digital marketing. And finally, you can join our community. You can join our learning community with the link in the description. And there's so much more you'll be learning. There's so much more growth ahead of you. And remember, our goal remains, and we are going to continue emphasizing it. We are out to transform Africa. And this year, we are definitely reaching 1 million Africans. And I'm so sure it's going to be a very, very amazing experience. So thank you for joining, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.